out of 100 grams of broccoli, you get 10 grams of mostly carbs and some, protein and fat or whatever. It's like very, very little. So that's a 10% ratio. So 90% filler, 10% actual digestible energy for our body. Miniature Action Jesus says, if a 500 calorie deficit is roughly 1 pound loss of weight per week, does that mean you could, in theory, just weigh your food and reduce your average by 1 pound per week if you didn't count calories? So basically, if 500 calorie deficit per day is enough, or 3,500 calories down per week equals 1 pound lost, couldn't 1 pound less of food that you weighed your weekly total do the same? Good question. And the answer is no, because we're not equating the right stuff. So let's break it down. 1 pound of fat is pretty much pure energy. I mean, there's a little bit of filler stuff in there, but for the most part, 1 pound of fat is pure energy of 1 gram. 1 gram of that fat tissue, or one gram of that pound. So like 1 pound has about like 454, let's call it 450 grams of a weight, right? So there's 450 grams of fat in there, where every gram of fat is about 900 calories. So, sorry, 9 calories. My bad. So, if we do the math, let's do some math really quick. Okay. 454 grams of fat times 9 calories per gram, 4,000 calories. So we say it's about a 500 calorie deficit per day. 500 times 7 is 3,500 calories. Is about 1 pound of fat loss. So again, that 1 pound is not pure energy. There's some filler stuff. There's also some glycerol or carbs stored in there. So it's not a pure 1-to-1 thing. So, but that's just the general math to get you the idea. Now, that pound of fat is basically, for the purpose of this analogy, is pure energy. When we eat food, it is not always pure energy. There might be some filler in there. The two favorite examples I give, because I know these numbers off the top of my head, is like take broccoli, an unprocessed whole food, versus protein powder, which is a processed food. If you look at per gram, how many grams of energy, actual food energy, are you getting from every 100 grams of that product? So in the case of broccoli, it's somewhere to the order of, out of 100 grams of broccoli, you get 10 grams of mostly carbs and some, protein and fat or whatever. It's like very, very little. So that's a 10% ratio. So 90% filler, 10% actual digestible energy for our body. Something like protein powder by weight is like 90% digestible energy for us, mostly protein, a little bit of carbs and fat. Like 90% digestible energy, 10% filler. So versus that 1 pound of fat is like pure energy. So to your point, you're asking about like, can I weigh my food and just do 1 pound less? That depends on the food that you're weighing, but that's too simplistic of a view because we're doing apples and oranges comparisons. It depends on the food density. So if you were to take out 1 pound of oil from your diet every week, I would say, you know what? That's probably going to equate 350. That's probably going to equate the 1 pound of fat, right? So in that case, that's kind of an apples to apples comparison, but who the fuck drinks a pound of oil? If you drink a pound of oil per week, please get help. You might need help. But anyway, actually, you probably have like massive diarrhea if you do that. Anyway, so this is to give you an idea about what we're talking about here, because like the energy density of the food that matters. This is where I talk about calorie light versus calorie dense. Broccoli, very calorie light, because it's like by weight, like 90% filler, 90% stuff that's going to fill you up off 0 calories. You take a processed food like protein shakes is not a good example for this. There's probably better examples I can't think of right now, but like oil, for examples, like pure energy. Like it's almost pure energy with like no filler. So that's not very satiating, right? Yeah, same thing. Avoid eating fried foods in every meal. I mean, this is another reason why processed food in general is not helpful for weight loss, is because they've extracted out a lot of the filler. They've taken out a lot of the filler. And so you have leftovers, just like raw energy that's easy to consume. Delicious, easy for bulking, not necessarily the greatest for losing weight. So Miniature Action Jesus, hope that helps to explain why you can't equate those two. But if you do the math and you find foods, like you actually calculate how many, like you have to calculate what is the actual energy density percent of this food that you're eating, factor out the filler stuff, and then you could do by weight for that. But if you want to make your life easy because you're trying to lose weight every week, you can just ballpark your food, man, and just try to get better at that skill. You won't be as accurate with your weight loss, but over time, you can develop that skill where you're better at just eyeballing how much food you're eating and listen to your own body in terms of feeling full and what that feeling full off of certain foods is going to lead to on the scale. I'm pretty good at that. I can control my weight with like not tracking calories. I'm 8 pounds up since the beginning of April, so it's been about 10 weeks. About 10 weeks. It's been about 10 weeks and I'm 8 pounds up. So just slightly under a pound per week, which is what I was going for roughly. I'm probably going to accelerate that a bit right now because it is my birthday month and also Father's Day. So I'm going to be drinking a bit and also eating a lot of delicious calorie dense foods. So, yep. Most veggies you can eat almost unlimited. Yep. I completely agree. Non-starchy vegetables are so calorie light. In particular, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, kale, celery sticks, all that stuff. If you like the content, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitch and leave the notifications on. Feed your brain, feed your body, and see you next time.